Baba, help me, Baba. I need you, Baba. Kalunga, God of death, hear my plea. Kalunga, God of death, come to me. Kalunga, God of death.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing most anticipated game Tales of Kenzera Zal. Is a Metroidvania video game developed by Surgeon Studios and published by Electronic Arts under its EA Originals label. The game was released for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series XS on 23rd April 2024. You play as the titular Zhao, a young shaman struggling with the recent death of his father, so his solution is to help death, personified as an older man called Kalunga, with defeating 3 powerful spirits who refuse to move on. If he can do this, Kalunga will owe him a boon, which he intends to use to resurrect his father. Here we have a very comprehensible video game story. In Tales of Kenzera Zao, the debut game from Surgeon Studios, the use of the word Tales is more literal than it initially seems. To kick off the events of the game, protagonist Zuberi reads a book written by his late father about a place called Kenzera. He uses fiction to cope with his grief, just as the player might do with the plot of the game, and as the studio founder, who lost his father as well, did when creating the story to begin with. While combat and map design in Tales of Kenzera falters at times, this strong, emotional core was what pulled me through to the credits. Zhao is the protagonist of Zuberi's book, and he's who the player controls for the vast majority of the roughly 8-hour game. After his father's passing, he goes to Kalunga, the god of death, to perform a risky exchange defeating 3 great spirits to bring his father back to life. Kalunga, who simply appears as an older human man, accompanies Zhao throughout his journey, providing wisdom and guidance to level Zhao's often reckless behavior. It is a stellar dynamic, and I enjoyed watching them butt heads as they struggled to deal with the other grieving characters of the game. Zhao battles his way through the world of Kenzera using the masks of the sun and moon, relics gifted to him when his father passed. The Mask of the Moon has more ranged options with ice abilities, while the Mask of the Sun is melee focused with fire abilities, and both are fun to use. Because you can flip between them at the drop of a hat, combat feels creative, giving the player the opportunity to flip to whichever stance fits them best at that moment. That said, later encounters with large crowds of enemies with regenerating health bars sometimes tested my love of the combat, with late-game combat encounters feeling like a chore purely based on how long they took. The game is also rife with platforming challenges that make use of all your abilities gained up until that point in the story, but since you start with a double jump and a mid-air dash, movement is a blast from the start. Many challenges involve instant kill spikes, which can be irritating, but quick respawn times generally keep me from pulling my hair out. This is not the case in certain challenge sections and some chase sequences in story missions, which require you to make it all the way through with only a handful of checkpoints. They're not insurmountable though, and allow the game to test player platforming skills as well as combat skills during boss sequences. Tales of Kenzera's main flaw is its map and world designs, which turn a pretty good game into one that's uninteresting and unintuitive to explore. While most games obscure sections of the map until players explore them, Tales of Kenzera opens up an entire zone as soon as you enter a biome. It's a minor convenience for navigating through the main plot, but a nightmare for figuring out where you have and haven't been. There's no way to mark the map or see where you've previously visited, save for icons that mark collected items, so in some cases it's actually more difficult to backtrack to find secrets. Even then, areas are pretty linear, thanks to objective markers making sure the player always knows where to go, so most secrets are just a quick little branch into a room to the left or an alternate path to the right. On top of that, most secrets only reward a small chunk of experience points, which is useful but not particularly exciting to discover and doesn't do much to incentivize further exploration. However, there are also meditation trees that increase your maximum health and platforming challenges to unlock stat-boosting trinkets, so it's still worth heading down the occasional side path. However, the most frustrating element here is a specific set of secret spirit trials. Unlike most hidden elements, these combat challenges require the player to backtrack significantly and open an ability-gated area to proceed. I enjoy secrets, but there are only 3 spirit trials in the whole game, and they are the only way to upgrade your spirit bar and trinket slots, which are vital to Zhao's abilities. It's a baffling choice to funnel both upgrades into one area and even more puzzling to hide them away like this, especially when their existence is not mentioned until you find one. If the map allowed you to mark certain areas to revisit or had a traditional unfogging system to see where you haven't explored, it would be one thing, and if it were the norm for other secrets to require a little more work to find, it would be another. But when the player is neither implicitly nor explicitly incentivized to search for major upgrades, it creates a balance issue. Despite my gripes with Spirit Trials and the map, I have a lot of respect for Tales of Kenzera Zao, particularly in how it handles grief and self-reflection. It is one of the most thematically cohesive games I've ever played. Every element of gameplay and story is tied back into the dual struggle Zao and Zuberi face in coping with the loss of their respective fathers. Health upgrades come from points of meditation and the processing of emotion. Each character you encounter deals with loss in their own way, which grants perspective to Zhao's situation. Even combat upgrades represent Zhao's path to get closer to his father. If he can't spend time with the man himself, he'll spend time with the legacy his father left behind. The best part about Tales of Kenzera Zao is its setting. Inspired by African folklore and legend, the world of Kenzera is bursting with color and life, though there are cracks in the terrain. This beautiful world is suffering. Storms rage, rot has set in. The great spirits are in trouble, and Zhao, along with his companion and mentor, the god of death, Colombo, must find a way to set things right. This setting is wonderfully unique, steeped in legends we rarely, if ever, see in video games. A gorgeous and lively score from Ninita Desai helps breathe even more life into the rolling plains and dark caverns of Kenzera. And all of this is topped off with an incredibly talented cast led by Salim himself as Zhao. Tales of Kenzera Zao conveys its somber themes with nuance and passion. It's just a shame the gameplay doesn't always match those highs, especially in a genre flooded with quality indies. Because Zhao's journey and Zuberi's parallel journey are stories I'll be thinking about for quite some time. These complaints aside, I genuinely enjoyed Tales of Kenzera Zao, and its themes of loss and grief and certainly of parenting hit home. It's also quite lovely how the game tackles these heavy issues while still remaining so upbeat and hopeful, reminding us that even in our darkest hours we can strive to find the light. I definitely recommend you give Tales of Kenzera Zao a shot. If you're a PS Plus Extra subscriber, it's free on day one. The game is available today, April 23rd, on PS5, Xbox Series XS, Nintendo Switch, and PC.
Zhao, I have seen enough. I will journey with you, shaman. This is the road to Ikakaramba, home to the great spirit of the sky. That is our first destination.
So what are your thoughts? And what you think about this game? Share your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gaming updates. Until next time, happy gaming.